Well, hello and welcome back. It is great to have you here with me today. My name is Nancy Kay Coy, and I'm excited about this episode because this is an area I truly believe in business that is one of the most misunderstood. And I think it's the key to the castle in a lot of cases. It's the secret to building a business that people simply can't ignore. And what is it? Well, it's learning how to solve and not sell anything. Spoiler alert, if you are selling or trying really hard to sell, you've got this wrong. So, in the Nancy Kay Coy Show, you should know that we really are a place where faith, business, and bold ideas collide. And we're always on the move to help women, business owners of all over the country, all over the world, in fact. We're trying to move the needle from 3 to 5% in the VC world. So more and more women get the funding that we need to move our companies to the next level. So again, if you are selling, you need to rethink your position. Nobody likes to be sold. Nobody wants to walk away from a business transaction feeling like, did I get taken advantage of? Just it's a kind of ugly feeling sometimes. And I think we've all been there. So what we're going to talk about is the problem with selling, why traditional sales tactics really are ineffective, right? Especially for modern buyers. It's why you can buy a car online, because I think people are just at a point where they don't want to deal with having to go spend 5 hours, right, in a car dealership, when you can go online and basically click through how you build a car to exactly your specifications. That functionality is available. It's why so many of these online retailers are doing so well. I mean, I'm as guilty as anybody else. I very, very rarely go to a grocery store. If I don't have to, I'm a happy camper. Why? I don't want to go through the process. I want life to be easy. I think most of us do, because we're busy. And traditional sales tactics that used to work in the past just don't work anymore. And what ends up happening is when you're pushing a product before you really understand what your customer wants or needs, they're going to just go and find another option. They just are, because they can. It used to be that it took so much more time to through the buyer journey. It doesn't anymore. So we have to be so concrete in our skill set, again, to solve and not sell. I've been in a situation before, and I've done it too. I'm as guilty as anybody else is, where I'm trying to get through the transaction, and I turn into the salesperson that I don't want to be. And when I do that, or I have done that in the past, it's really ineffective. But when I take the time and I shift my mindset to a mindset of seeking to understand my customer and their needs, it's amazing that now I'm solving a problem. Now, I'll give you an example. So if I am a patient and I need to go to the dentist because my tooth is killing me, and I go to the dentist and he says, I can extract your tooth and get rid of the pain, he is solving a pain problem. That's what we need to be. We need to be the antidote. We need to be the method that solves our consumer's problem better than anybody else. And what does that really mean? Again, that means we have to listen, we have to learn, and we have to lead. We have to be experts in our area, our niche of business. And we have to listen deeply to their problems. We have to learn what's already been tried and what hasn't been successful, and then lead with a solution that works. There's a scripture. It's 1 Peter 4:10. Each of you should use whatever gift you have received to serve others. And I think we're really kind of moving our business models need to move into a much more of a service oriented mentality, where we have to think about, how can I help you? How can I serve you? And niche ourselves so we're super focused in the businesses that we have. Boiling the ocean or having too many options for people, believe it or not, it gets confusing. I'm a firm believer in this day and age that less is more. We don't have to have a plethora of different options for people. We have to have the option that solves a problem. And it solves a problem in a big way, and it solves a problem for the multitudes, because obviously business just moves so fast. So, ways to implement the solve, don't sell mindset. Do a problem audit. Go through your offering and really, what are the pain points that you're actually solving? And know those pain points. Put yourself in the position of the consumer. And if you were the consumer, what would be your concerns? What would you be looking to the company to be able to solve and make that, again, that process really, really easy? It doesn't have to be these elaborate words. It doesn't have to be an elaborate conversation. It just needs to be streamlined and easy. Position yourself as a guide. And remember, you're not the hero. You're not the hero in the story. Your customer is. So let them be that hero. I think a lot of times in business, we take a position of it's almost like a pride position, that we know what we do. So I'm as guilty as anybody else. So sometimes I'm learning along with you as we're having these conversations. But again, allow your customer to be the hero. But hear them and validate their needs before you start to pitch them. So the conversation could be, let's use an example. I'll give you an example of founders that are thinking about potentially coming into like even our incubator. I talk to hundreds of founders a month, and it's interesting that so many of them are trying to attract customers. They're trying to attract investors. And what I'm trying to find out from them is, what are they doing right? What are they doing wrong? And how can we position them so that customers are finding them, that investors are finding them? And once I help them and I hear them of where their struggles are, then I can help them, if it's appropriate, solve their problems with our incubator, because our incubator is all about solving the need to find customers and investors. But if that's not my customer's problem, it really is inappropriate to encourage them to buy something, or I guess adopt something that they don't need. Nobody wants to feel like that. And I think today that we have to really go back to our customers and have a conversation with them about their wants, their needs, and reiterate what you've heard before, again, you become the antidote, before you become the painkiller. That's your goal. Your goal is to be a painkiller. I think in terms of, many of you heard of Sarah Blakely, right? This woman is amazing. $5,000 in the bank. She's the one that created Spanx. And she solved a huge problem. How many of us girls are trying to hide a little extra here and there? Well, I don't know too many gals, even my friends that have these darling little figures. I don't know what that's about, because I think I was a tomboy, but I was a swimmer. I was an athlete. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to swim. But we're all trying to, kind of squeeze and make things, tuck in a little bit more. She solved a huge problem. She was the gal that kind of smoothed us out, our bodies out, so our clothes looked better. She solved a huge, huge problem. It was easy to understand what she was doing. It was easy to pay for what she was doing, because I think we all wanted it. So when I think of women or men that are solving huge problems, it was easy for Sarah because she wasn't selling. She didn't have to sell anything. Her model, her business, what she had to offer, sold itself. She was a painkiller. That's what you need to aspire to be. So, kind of digging in a little bit from the faith and business side, right? Jesus, he met needs before he started to preach. He healed, he listened, he fed people before he said a word really about believing in him. He was a painkiller. In fact, he was probably one of the very best entrepreneurs in the world. So were most of his disciples. The same servant heart and that approach builds trust, because you want to build trust with your customers. This is the other thing. What we want to do with our customers today is we want to capture those customers and keep them, because the trust is built. And when you have solved a pain point, when you have solved a major pain for your customer, they trust you. And they're going to come back in most cases. And hopefully they come back over and over again, because it's working smart, not working hard. So if you want more clients, solve better problems. If you want loyal customers, serve better than anyone else. The serve mentality is really where our world has gone. And I happen to love that, because I think when we serve others, we're following one of the second commandment. God said, love me with all your heart, love your neighbor as yourself. And we're serving. And when we serve, you can't outgive God. You just can't. And when you serve other people and you take care of other people and their needs, the money just follows. So what's one problem that you can solve today that would change somebody else's life with the product or service that you're building? Really, again, take inventory, do an audit, and put yourself in the position of your customer. And I'd like to invite you to Her Kingdom Ventures. Her Kingdom Ventures are our startup clinic or our startup church. Our options are all free, by the way. We offer those through Cana Global. You can find them at Cana, C-A-N-A, global.org. We talk about this kind of stuff all the time. We have Startup Church, which is every Thursday. There's entrepreneurs all over the world, men and women. We have startup clinics. Again, entrepreneurs all over the world that are thinking about starting a business, have started a business, are trying to figure it all out. And then we have Her Kingdom Ventures, and that's just for women all over the world who are starting businesses, who are want to be entrepreneurs at some point in their life, or maybe they're married to an entrepreneur, because that's not an easy job either, right? So I bring this up to you and I share this with you because we focus so much on solving, not selling anything. And we're painkillers. And I hope you get this. I absolutely hope you understand the solve, not sell mentality and mindset. It will change your life and you'll feel better. You're not selling anymore. You're not selling anything. And you just rise to a new level. You really do. And you become more and more of an expert in your field, in your niche as a result. I hope this information is helpful. If it is, please again share the content or share the channel. It will really help us build our audience, and really would appreciate it if you'd subscribe to the channel. But if you know somebody that is an entrepreneur, want to be entrepreneur, or they're stuck, please send them our way. We'll do everything we can to serve and help them and solve and not sell them anything. All right. I'll look forward to getting back together with you soon. Make it a great day. Bye for now.